right, so we're going to look at creating a terrestrial food web. First thing you're going to need is a yellow highlighter. If you will, highlight the word terrestrial, which is not a word you use in everyday language, but it really just means land. The prefix terra means land. If you've ever heard of an extraterrestrial, like ET, means from another land. Terrestrial means land. So in your homework tonight when you're reading and it says land biomes, it really could say terrestrial biomes. We have a paragraph here that's going to describe a food web. You're going to read the paragraph and then you're going to use that information to create the food web. Normally you would cut these out and glue them onto a page. And if you're working from home, I'm going to ask that you glue them in this orientation with it portrait view and fern and grass toward the bottom, worm, insect, deer, rabbit, then mouse and frog, then snake and cougar. And if you will, put your heading in the top right corner. If you're in class, you'll actually receive this paper, so you don't have to cut or glue anything. But if you're working remotely, working from home for whatever reason, or working in ISS or SLE or whatever, you'll need to put yours just like this onto, I think I gave you a pink page, but you could do it on any piece of paper. All right? Now, after that, we're going to take our yellow highlighter. After you've read through this, it says, in a specific terrestrial food web, grasses and ferns are the organisms that convert radiant energy from the sun into glucose through the process called photosynthesis. Grass is then eaten by insects, mice, rabbits, and deer. Ferns are eaten by insects, rabbits, and deer. Frogs and mice both eat insects and worms. Snakes eat both frogs and mice. Cougars, which are large predatory cats, eat rabbits and deer. Decomposers, highlight, decomposers such as worms recycle nutrients so that they can once again become part of the food web. So, since it is rather confusing to have all of the organisms, when they die, have energy going into the decomposer, which is the worm, we're going to use a yellow highlighter, not green, not red, not any other color, yellow, and we're going to show that after the fern dies, the energy goes into the worm. After the mouse dies, the energy goes into the worm. After the insect dies, the energy goes into the worm. All of these organisms, when they die, will decompose, and that energy will go into the decomposer, which is the worm. Now, I'm using yellow so that it's kind of in the background. It doesn't get confusing with all these lines being yellow. The rest of the lines will be done in blue or black ink or pencil, okay? So only the decomposer is going to be done in yellow, all right? Now, on the back of this page, or if you're working from home on a separate page, or even the back of this one, we're going to flip that over, and we're going to draw a large triangle so that we can create an energy pyramid. It's going to need 3 lines drawn across it, so that will give it 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. Your heading will go in the top right corner. This is an energy pyramid. We made one of these. It's in your notes, I believe, on page, I don't know. Looks like this, maybe 60 or 61. Energy pyramid. You can use your notes when you're doing this. Okay, that's what an energy pyramid looks like. That's what a food web looks like. All right, so once you have read this paragraph, drawn your arrows showing how the energy flows from the grass all the way, everything that is described in this paragraph. These lines will be written, these arrows rather, will be drawn in blue or black ink or pencil, not highlighter. Once you've done that, you're going to take these organisms and you're going to enter them into the energy pyramid where they should be located. You'll have more than one on each, you can have more than one on each level, right? So you're going to put those, you don't have to draw them, you just have to write their name. For example, insects, you'd write insects, okay? The decomposers, however, don't really have a place in the energy pyramid. Sometimes you'll see them drawn below the plants, but I don't really like that because it infers that they have more energy than the plants, and that is not true. So we're going to just make a bubble off to the side that says worms and decomposers. You don't have to draw any arrows on the energy pyramid. This just shows that worms will decompose anything that is in this energy pyramid. Okay? First thing, draw your arrows using the paragraph. Second, use the food web to create the energy pyramid. Third thing, there are a list of words. It says label the organisms on your food web with the following terms. An organism may have more than one term, and the terms will be used multiple times or not at all. So you're not going to scratch these out after you use them one time. But we're going to go ahead and do worm together. So worms, would they be prey? Well, up here it says that something eats worms. Frogs and mice both eat insects and worms. So would the frog be the predator and the worm be the prey? Yes. So we're going to put prey. Predator. The worm doesn't have to hunt down dead things to eat, so it's not a predator. Is it a producer? Does it photosynthesize? No, so it's not. Is it a primary consumer? Is it on the pyramid as the ones that only eat plants? No. So it's not a primary consumer, secondary consumer, or tertiary consumer because it is definitely a decomposer. And decomposer. It's not an autotroph, but it is a heterotroph because it doesn't do photosynthesis, so it is the other, it consumes. Heterotroph. All right, not a secondary, not a carnivore, not an omnivore, not an herbivore, not a tertiary. Some people asked about omnivore. Yes, it does eat dead plants and dead animals, but it's breaking them down into their elemental form, and therefore it's not classified as an omnivore. Omnivore means one that eats both, and meaning that it obtains them as a hunter or predator for the other animals. Okay, plants cannot be prey. Things that eat plants does not make them a predator. Your grass is not going to get away from you. Okay, so you're going to write every word that pertains to that organism either in the box or somewhere around the box. Be sure, if you put it in the middle, I don't know if it goes to insects or to deer. Okay, so be sure that I know which one it goes to. Once you finish this, you're going to put this one on top so that I will be able to see this and that at the same time. It is a major grade.